Hi Gemini, this is Wishko the Ferret. Thanks for hopping into the Ferret Den where we're keeping things warm and we're keeping things cozy. Today we have a reading for you for May 1st to the 7th. We do have a full moon in Scorpio on the 5th or the 6th depending on where you're at in the world. So check out your favorite astrologer so that you can look into those energies and see how they play into your signs. I'm just going to jump right on in here. So drop into your heart space, let the dust spiritually, physically, and emotionally settle around and within you so that you can determine which messages are for you and which messages are for others. While you do that, I'm going to do my own meditation. It's going to take me like a hot minute because you're my first reading of the day. So thank you, Archangel Michael, for surrounding me with protective light. And thank you, angels and spirit team, for connecting me with the energies of Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, or anyone who happens to be coming across this message and is in need of a little bit of Gemini energy. Thank you for helping me uplift and empower the collective. Okay. I spent a lot of time in nature today, so I have been flying through. I'm not just flying through because I'm like whatevering this. Like I actually feel like really grounded already and very connected. Took like a very long hike today. So I'm like, I came home like immediately. I was like, I'm ready to go. Let's do this. Let's do this shit. Okay, Gemini. So there's power behind your words. That's the thing that Spirit's coming through with like the loudest. There is power behind your words. So right off the bat, you have the Chariot. So this is your directive, your will is going to be very strong this week. So you're basically the driving force behind anything that you want to do. Anything you want to do, anything you want to accomplish. The King of Pentacles here is like a really good sign for me of like having the resources to get things done, especially when paired with the Chariot. It does feel like that you are building something of structure, something of substance. So whatever it is that you start, you could be at the beginning of a project, you could be in the middle, or whatever, anywhere in between. You could even be finishing something up and on your way to success, but whatever you're working on this week, I feel like is going to be successful, Gemini. So I feel like that's really good for you. It is, the focal point of your reading is the Six of Pentacles. Now I feel like the Six of Pentacles is, it's a very giving energy. Like sometimes it gives me different vibes. Sometimes the Six of Pentacles is wanting to like withhold your resources, but I feel like in this particular reading, I feel like the balance here is that you are in a position where you are able to give more because you have more abundance for yourself. So I do feel like you are in a position where you just, it's almost like you're so overflowing with whatever it is that you have that you are able to give freely to others. And this doesn't have to be in the term of money. This could be in terms of like time, resources, even love. I mean, whatever it is that you can give, it could be a sentiment. It could be some favors, like in the form of favors from other people. But there is something coming up with the moon. So something to work through with your subconscious. I really do think that, you know, especially with like the full moon in Scorpio, like we were just talking about, like with the full moon in Scorpio, it's a good time to like release your fears. And again, depending on your placements and, you know, again, looking at like the other planets in the sky, there can be a lot of things to work through in terms of releasing certain fears, things that are unseen, things that are affecting us on a deeper level than we realize. And that usually is what the moon is about. So I'm not surprised that you have the moon coming up. So the full moon period can be like a special time for you, or probably like maybe an emotionally intensive time. A good time to work around, good time to work with like the moon energies to actually release some of those things. But in order to figure out what those things are, there is a call for rest. There's a call to go into a form of meditation with the Four of Swords. I do feel like there are blessings coming out of that, though. It's like, I just heard from Spirit, find a place of solitude, sit back, relax, and receive. So I do feel like when you're like channeling guidance for yourself, essentially, to navigate your own fears. And I don't know, I feel like there's like this energy thing, and like it's coming up intuitively, so I I didn't want to say it because it wasn't in the cards, but it's coming up stronger now because it's showing in the clarifying cards. But it's almost like you're fearing having something taken away from you, or like it's almost like this worry of giving because perhaps you've had a history of giving too much and you don't want to. I just heard Spirit say you give enough. You give enough. Whatever you've been giving, you give enough. But there is a concern that you are giving too much and you're like, oh my gosh, like, am I going to over deplete myself? Like, over deplete. Where did that even come from? I'm going to deplete myself. I'm going to overextend myself. There is a concern of, like, there's like a worry. Perhaps that's one of the fears you're working through because maybe perhaps in the past you have been taken advantage of, or it's almost like you have had things kind of, I don't want to say stolen from you. I don't know. There's something here that's like people have perhaps been taking your energy. As clarifiers, we have the Seven of Swords. And that's so... This is like the second time Two of Swords has like... I mean, it's done this with me where like this card just kind of like... Because these cards are very slick. So the top of this falls off onto the floor and it was... Once upon a time for me, it was also Two of Swords. So perhaps this was in relation to like a choice that you've had to made. It's like, I just heard there's like an agreement between, I just heard an agreement between you two. I don't know what that means, but perhaps it's just like an exchange of energy that you have with another person that you're worried about giving too much, or you're worried about some boundaries being crossed, or like that you're worried that they're taking too much from you, or that they're taking too much resources from you, taking too much time or resources or something from you. This could be another person. This could be like a situation that you've made a compromise with. But perhaps you're just like, you're maybe in something where you feel like it's just a little bit like, is my energy getting sapped? Is this something I need to completely cut away? And it's just constantly being presented with the Two of Swords energy of like, okay, well, I recognize the blessings that this situation, this person, this circumstance gives me, but at the same time, it also brings me like, you know, like it could bring me icky feelings if I focus on those things. And there are some things about it that you just don't like. And I do feel like this is an energy that you can work with. You can certainly choose, like it is your choice. You might feel lighter if you completely get rid of it, but you will also have to deal with losing the positives of that, like, as well. So I'm hearing, like, what do you value the most is what Spirit wants you to answer or journal about. So what is it that you value the most from this experience, and does it outweigh some of the things that you might come across with that person? So I don't know. It's just something to think about. And again, I'm saying person because that's just the most accessible thing I can think of. But like, it could be a situation. It could be a circumstance, a job, an opportunity. There could be pros and cons. You just need to figure out, do my values line up with the pros? And can I live with like those cons basically? Or like the energy that it comes with, is it something I can work with? Either way, I mean, I don't think it's like something that's like, I don't feel like this is too heavy of a time to ponder over it. I don't feel like this does feel like an overall like great week, and I don't think this is going to drag you down too much, so I wouldn't worry too much about that, Gemini. The Three of Cups, so I do feel like celebration is in the air. Like, I just heard like you've been in the thick of it already, so like you really have nothing to fear at this point forward. Three of Cups, I feel like things are only going to get better. I don't know, that's just it. Three of Cups is the energy of celebration, happiness, joy. This is just okay. So I'm seeing like, and this is like an experience that happened, you know, because I work at a school. So you know, look at with a child just jumping in a rain puddle, and like they were so happy, and it brought so much joy to this child's face. And Spirit is like sending me this image like of something that I've already seen, and it's almost like the gift of joy is kind of like what you are feeling this week. It's not, joy isn't something that can be given. It's something that is summoned from within us. We all have the capacity to handle joy, to experience joy, to call it forward. Some people are better at recognizing that joy and happiness than others because they say happiness is within, and like, you know, I want to say blah, 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 but I can't say blah, blah, blah anymore because I've learned how very true that is. So finding that love and that playful, almost like, you know, perhaps maybe if like, this is just an example, but like, you know, when you were a kid and you know, put on your rain boots, or even if you were just in your shoes and you're like, let's go out and get wet, and you're like jumping in the puddles and you were just having so much fun with it. I feel like those kinds of activities, it doesn't have to be like a set thing, but even if it's something simple, like I don't know, if you climbed trees when you were younger, maybe going out and just for the hell of it, just being like, you know what, I wonder if I could probably climb that tree. Or even just about like, you know, making it like even halfway up the tree, or like just on a branch, even if it's like a low tree where you're just kind of like, all you have to do is step up and just sit there. If you have the ability to just kind of like chill there, you know, like the physical capability, like that's fine too. Because I know I cannot climb a tree. I think once upon a time I was able to climb a tree, and I don't know, I was afraid of heights, so I didn't really do it again. Plus I just not strong enough. But, you know, I mean like, it's just an example, but apply it to your situation as you see fit. Maybe if you really enjoyed coloring when you were young, maybe just something that gives you that, like that feeling of a little kid, like the feeling of a little child splashing in puddles is what I'm getting. Really indulge in that energy this week, because I feel like it's very easily accessible to you at this time. The Empress is the creator. So when the Empress comes out in this deck, I really do feel like, because this is the Tarot of Dragons, by the way, very beautiful deck. And I'm going to hold it up a little bit longer because I feel like y'all didn't get a chance to see it. But with the Empress in this deck, it's definitely more focused on creation. So usually I see the Empress as an energy of confidence. Now, when I see it in this deck, I feel like it's a protectiveness. I feel like it is recording your thoughts and feelings about, I don't know why this is coming through because this is not what I was going to say. So it's like recording your thoughts and feelings throughout the week of times where you feel powerful, where you feel protective, almost like you're like I just heard, like, what does that mean? Ingesting the efforts of others. It's almost like, taking note of how you feel around other people and how they affect you, whether it's in a positive or negative way, just keeping track of that for whatever reason, can help you assess your relationships. But also the Empress is an act of, like, it's like a card of creation. It's a card of, it could be like a nature activity. You could like really want to go out and vibe really hard with nature right now. But I'm getting like an interconnectivity. Interconnectivity is a part of the answer that you're seeking. So if you've been asking yourself a question recently, or if you've been feeling very lost or confused for whatever reason, interconnectedness and experiencing that interconnectedness will provide part of your answer, or it could be the answer that some of you are looking for. So experiencing it and having that internal cognizant or a claircognizant knowing can actually bring peace where there is unrest. So that is a very specific message for some of you. It might not apply to everybody. But when all hope is lost and when you're really feeling like I will try anything at this point, go out in nature. I mean, even if you have the time and you're not even in that state, go out in nature and try to experience the connectedness. I find my interconnectivity through trees. Other people find it through plants or from watching animals. Definitely get your lay of the land and figure out what you can like breathe into your soul. And I just heard something about like there's no limit to what you can I'm sorry. There's no limit to what you can accomplish, Gemini. So the Empress, like I said, is it's like fertility, creativity, birthing something and raising it up, basically. And just like I said, I feel like with the King of Pentacles and with the Chariot, if you direct the will to it, like everything is in accordance with your will and where your efforts are being directed. So you have the ability to create something really freaking awesome. So that's a good thing. Let's see what else you get for your messages. We're pulling from The Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid. We'll see what else you got. That makes sense. Oh, and that fell over, so we're going to try again. I see a card that's trying to come out. I'm going to see if it comes out. It really, really wants to come out. Oh, 2 of these cards came out. Okay. Yeah, the card that really wanted to come out was Be Flexible, because I kept seeing, like, as I was shuffling and it was parting, I was like, okay, I see you there. I see you. So some of you might have to adapt a little bit in your scene or scenario. It's not like a big major message, so I do feel like it's kind of like a little bit of a message for some of you. Woo! Sorry, that's I don't know if you're looking at the camera now. I have this huge blanket behind me. I didn't realize how much blanket I was leaning on until I moved it. So, okay. So, but the actual cards that came out for you. So there's a little bit of flexibility that you might need to have in, like, I feel like transitioning affairs. I don't really know why, but like being flexible in terms of like moving from one plan to the next. There's just something here about transitions. So, like maybe you're transitioning from like, I don't know, I just heard like moving to a new apartment. So for some of you that could be it. Like moving to a new apartment, or like perhaps you're even just something simple as like going out to eat with a friend or something like that. Like the transition period from one location to another, or from one situation to another. Just like be flexible, because it might not be 100% what you would expect or want, but you know, it's the best transition that it can be offered to you at this time, and it's okay to like have it not be fully perfect. But anywho, so you have the actual card you have. I just heard Spirit has answered your prayers. So even if the transition isn't 100% what you were expecting, Spirit has answered your prayers, and this is what has come about. So, and I don't think it's like that big of a deal. They might be just kind of like a nuisance. I mean, we are in like a Mercury retrograde time, so I wouldn't be surprised if things just are going meh. But I don't know. I do feel like, I don't know. There's just something here that's like you're like, we answered you and everything's good. So maybe try to focus on something else if it's something that's like nagging at you and you're like, oh, I don't really want to experience it this way. But you have here and now. So focusing on the now, focusing on, I heard you have a descriptive past, and perhaps, so like when they say that though, the way that the Spirit said that to me, so everybody has a past, you know, we all have a past, and it could all be explained into as big a detail as possible or little detail as possible. It's like, it's never ending. So when the Spirit says that you have a descriptive past, it's telling me like it's coming with the feeling that perhaps you are somebody who has reviewed your past and kind of, it's like, what's that expression? It's like beating a dead horse, where you can't really articulate it any further than you already have, and it doesn't really matter how you frame it or the words that you use or what you use. It doesn't change the fact that it happened, and you've kind of mulled over it for too long, is what Spirit is saying. So it's almost like you have a very descriptive past, in that you have probably focused on it a lot, and you've probably put it in so many different frames of mind and so many different perspectives, and you've worded it, and you've integrated it, and perhaps you've done shadow work on it, and just so much crap on it, and there was so much focused on working through past things. But, and perhaps with like a future oriented goal too, you can work on your past, and also like, you know, you can do all of the things. You can focus on like working through past stuff, but like also have the intention that when I solve this past thing, it will help me achieve this future thing. So either way, the here and now card tells me that Spirit says, okay, well, enough with the past, enough with keeping your eye on the past, because when you experience this Three of Cups energy here, when you are actively achieving and receiving this energy with the Four of Swords here, you are, it's so much easier to experience this joy and this information when you are focused on the present, when you are here in the present and rooted in the present. This is why, like, quite literally, I mean, like, when I breathe in through my body and I focus on my breath, like when it's mediumship, and channeling is all about awareness. So anybody can be psychic. Anybody can be a medium. There's skills. Some people are more natural at, you know, some than others. But it's just like, it's just a skill. Anybody can do it. So it's just, for some people it takes more practice. I had to work really hard to get to where I am. I am like a natural, you know, I mean, I'm a moon and rising Pisces, so that's a part of it, but it's just also like in my bloodline. So to me, it's like a little bit natural, and there's a lot of like, you know, sorry, Spirit's like focus. But essentially, when I'm here, when I turn my awareness to my breath, that is when like the messages get stronger. So if I'm like listening to spirits and I can't quite hear them, like if it's not fully clear, or if I'm all focused on like everything out here, all of that energy comes from within, and your guides and your angels channel it through you, up through your heart. So when our awareness is constantly like around, or like it's usually like it doesn't have to be focused internally. It could be just like when we are doing something mindless. So like when I'm mindlessly shuffling the cards and I'm not paying attention, sometimes that's when spirit is the loudest. Not like when I'm here talking to you now because the message has already been received and I'm conveying it. But the prominent point that I'm trying to make is that there's so much importance to the here and now, and it's not even just to bring you peace of mind. It is quite literally, you can receive more information from spirit because it's like literally spirit is saying, we are guiding you to be still. We are guiding you to be still so that you can actually hear our messages, because if you're not still, it's hard to hear the messages. Okay. And this is different for everyone. Sometimes you can move in like emotion and be kind of mindless doing it and receive stuff that way. But spirit's saying specifically for this message, groundwork is important. Groundwork, being still, because it's almost like I'm sensing that you're a little restless. So just bring it down, cool it, dude. Like that's what I tell my kinders all the time. All my kindergartners, I'm like, cool it, dude, cool it, chill out, like take a breath. And it's all gonna happen because there's still movement here. To the sea indicates that you are still moving in a direction. But the thing about the to the sea card is that you don't know where you're going. There's no map. You have a map, but it's uncharted. There's no plan. There's nothing happening, but it's almost like you have the bravery and the skills to actually embark on this adventure. Truly. Spirit is saying, truly, truly, truly. It's almost like you are just free to go on this boat and use the oars and just go in whatever direction you want. I heard someone say paddle boat too. So perhaps, if you prefer a paddle boat and not like this, little boat, then fine, imagine a paddle boat. But you might have to work a little bit to, go in whatever direction you want to go in. But you have what it takes. Like, I don't know if you needed to hear that. Like, I know it's like a very general thing to say, but spirit is saying like you truly you have the capability to handle the unknown. So don't be afraid of the unknown. Don't be afraid of the uncertain future. Don't be afraid of what things are going to look like, because not only does spirit have your back, but you have your back. I got the chills when I just said that. Like, I think I'm going to start sweating after that. But you have your back more than anybody. And you know that you're going to bring yourself through this mess. I mean, you've brought yourself up until now. You brought yourself through everything up until now, and you continue to keep going. So that has to mean, first of all, that has to mean something. Secondly, the fact that you have such a strong will, what is showing up in the Chariot and the King of Pentacles, indicates that you quite literally, I'm seeing it in the cards. Like, Spirit is not only telling me, but I am seeing it in the cards that you have what it takes to steer this boat in whatever direction you want. And you don't even need to know what's next, because you have the confidence to know that you will be successful no matter which way you ride. Like, you will find islands, you will build your empire. Wherever it is you go, you're planting your seeds and you're watching that shit grow. Go Gemini. Boom! I love it. But I know y'all are going to groan when I give you this card, but TikTok. This is divine timing. This is our divine timing card. So it might not happen immediately. You might not get immediate results. And, that's fine. I heard someone say that's fine. So if you're cool with that, that's totally fine. Some of you, I'm feeling like energy, like, no thank you. But this is definitely something that, it will take time to manifest. And there's no timeline. So, like, let's say I'm just going to use college for an example. So people typically go for an undergraduate degree here in America. They go for 4 years. And it's like, that's very classic. It can be more, it can be less, whatever degree you're going for. But, it's like a pretty standard, like, 4-year degree. But not everybody completes that 4-year degree in 4 years. But that is kind of what you would think, right? And it's doable for some, for a privileged some, And there's this energy here of like, oh, things are more chancy than that. Like, you might be seeing a clear path, but Spirit is saying it's not as set as you think. So, and again, I know, like, with the To the Sea card, we're seeing something like the path is uncertain, but if you are expecting certain steps to happen at certain time intervals, Spirit's almost saying like, like, it doesn't mean it's going to take longer, but doesn't mean it's going to take shorter. It just means that, there might be other things that happen in between. And again, like I said, it might be longer. It might be shorter. Like, you don't know. So, but anyway, moving on to the Secret Garden Oracle cards. Divine timing, keep that in mind. We have generosity. Well, slow boat. I just heard slow boat. So drive slow, keep it slow, because that's when you will receive the most happiness, the most messages, the most abundance from spirit, and you will just feel the most abundance in the, like, you know, focusing on the here and now. Slow boat, you're going to be taken to wherever you go in due time, so there's no rush. Generosity, sow seeds of kindness. So literally what I just said, so like, let me make sure it's focusing here. So literally what I just said was like the Six of Pentacles here, that being the focal point. I do feel like you're in a, like I said, I don't know, I said like what I said it like 5 times, but you're just in a position where you can give more. You're in a position where you can give other people more because of your abundance. I feel like I don't need to reiterate on that one too much because it was already stated before. I'll see if we get one more for Gemini, and then we're going to roll the dice for you. One more. One more card. Hi. Strength. Don't let weeds and thistles cultivate in your garden. So again, Spirit saying you have everything it takes, you have the strength, and also like you're cultivating strength too. So this is something that like I just heard like you need to keep up with. Some of you need to keep up with your like, I don't know, they're giving me the example of a diet. For some of you, it's not necessarily a diet. You just like, if there's some type of regimen or routine, Spirit's saying like you need to keep up with it. You have the strength to do it. Sometimes you might not feel like you can make it further, but Spirit is saying like, you know, you need to keep up the strength. You have the strength within you. Just summon that willpower, summon that motivation, that creativity, that there's like a well of resources that you can pull from. And that's restoring your own cup constantly. That is your well. Your cup is your well. And it's not like a bottomless pit. Like our divine essence is like a never-ending, beautiful, loving energy. But our resources here, when we expend our energy on Earth, I would say they're limited because they need to be replenished more. Like, we got to feed our spirit, okay? Our spirit never runs out. That's not to scare anybody, but we definitely have a very physical limitation of, oh, I need to replenish my energy. I need to restock. And I need to go back to my safe space, and I need to, like, chill, and, like, I need to consolidate information and such. So all of those things are very important for you. So making sure you have the strength to give generously. And Spirit is saying you do have the strength to give generously, but what you do is enough. What you do is generous. So Spirit is saying if you feel like giving more, you're able to give more. If you want to give less, give less. Either way, it all feels generous. But yeah, it's almost like that's like your calling for this week is like to give more. So that's nice. 427 with the angel dice, and we're pulling from Angel Numbers by Kyle Gray, and we'll see what the message is. Your angels are supporting your prayers and requests about romance and relationships. Ooh, one more time. Your angels are supporting your prayers and requests about romance and relationships. I don't really know what that's about, so I don't want to speak on it too much, because if that message is for you, then you'll know what they're talking about. So, yeah, so that's just like a confirmation for me that like they're hearing you on it, and they're working with you. They're working with your energy, and there's something, I just heard something about divine plan. Okay, so never mind. I lied. I have an elaboration. So that's basically it though, that they're working on a plan. Like they have a plan, and they're giving me like the koala spirit from like a different deck of like Spirit has a plan. So that's why I'm like, oh, but he's like slowly munching. So like when I see this koala, like it's from the spirit animal deck. It's the koala spirit. Spirit has a plan, and that's basically what it is that like, again, divine timing and all that other stuff. But I see this koala eating food. I don't know if it's bamboo or like leaves or whatever koalas eat. He's eating it real slow, and it's giving me the sense like he's enjoying the show. So whatever this is, he's just eating it real slow. He's taking his time, and koalas are naturally, you know, pretty slow. But they're just showing me, for whatever reason, him munching and just staring like, and I'm like, dang, can he like chew a little bit faster? Like, I'm pretty sure koalas don't even eat that slow. But that is like the core of the message there, is that it's probably going to take some time. Whatever you're thinking about, they hear your prayers. It only seems like it's going nowhere here, but it's still like it maybe in the physical things seem like they're going really slow, or like nada. I just heard nada. So for whatever the case may be, if some of you are sitting in nada, or like nothing is happening even though you're praying for it, give it more time. Give it more time. Spirit's working on it. They hear you. You know, they're hammering out some ends. I just heard they're hammering out some ends and trying to line things up. So anyway, that's all I have for you, Gemini. Thank you so much to you, your guides, my guides, and all of the angelic presence and spirits, angelic presences and spirit presences. There we go. I can talk today. All the spiritual energies for helping me channel this message for you today. If you like my stuff, if you like my vibe, if you think I'm cool, go ahead, like and subscribe. Comment down below if you so feel called. All the things so you don't miss content from me, so I can get to know you. You can become a part of this community that I'm building in the Ferret Den. I'm so excited. And I am launching a Patreon very soon. Should have been launched already, but I'm taking my time and I'm trying to like build it up to what I want to see and to what I want to give to people. So yeah, very soon. So definitely keep an eye out for that stuff. I do post weeklies. I occasionally do pick cards and collective readings and all kinds of other fun stuff. So yeah, I love you, I love you, I love you, Gemini, and I will see you next time. Bye.